Hello, everyone. Welcome. And I look really weird right now because I need to make sure that we can be heard. How are you guys doing this morning?
Good morning, San Antonio.
Good morning, San Antonio. My name is Victoria Cabrera. And who do we have here this morning, this beautiful, beautiful morning on Friday?
Sylvia Toscano.
We have Sylvia Toscano. Oh, Adriana's off. Let's say that again.
She did that on purpose. She's like, let's put her on mute today.
She's going to be on mute all day long.
Adriana Rodriguez.
Nice. And you guys know, just make sure that you talk in that mic.
Yes.
Like as it's your, I don't know, like a spoon.
Like it's attached to us.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining in. If I'm looking this way, it's because my screen's here right now until I get my laptop working again. But right now I'm going to be looking this way for a little bit. So so they can actually see a little bit that's going on now, right?
Here,
there. Well, the camera's there, but the screen is here.
So we look over there.
Look over there, Sylvia. Your camera's over there.
I don't want to look over there.
No, stop looking over here. Jesus.
When you look at both.
I was looking at you.
You see.
Good morning, Josie. Good morning, Josie. If you're on here, let us know. I like the little page. Let us know that you're here. Thank you so much for joining every Friday morning. I know that you guys are always avid listeners, and we enjoy you guys watching the show. And I hope you like the new little setup that we did last week. We were having some technical difficulties last week, but I think they're all fixed. I hope they're all fixed now.
Yes.
I love it.
Do you feel more comfortable, Sylvia? Because you and Adriana before were like crunched.
I like to be that close to her. So I was like,
I know. She's my comfort blanket.
She's like, we keep each other warm.
Yeah, I know. Get over here.
Yeah,
I'm always by myself. I never have somebody playing footsies with me.
Know.
Darn. But y'all can't see
you're
down
the
there.
host. The host doesn't have anybody to keep them warm.
Hey, get your dirty feet off of me. Jeez whiz. Sylvia's trying to play footsies with me if my wife is listening, just to let you know she's playing footsie with me. Get your crusties off of me.
You know what we didn't do last week before I forget?
What's that?
The Halloween costume.
Oh, we
had said, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. We had said we're going to give a prize out for the best Halloween, and then
nobody posted their Halloween costume on our page.
Nobody wanted to win.
Nobody wanted to win, and we had a pretty good prize there.
That's on y'all people.
Yeah. You guys should have. So we were gonna do when Halloween. We were gonna do, if you posted your costume on the page, we were gonna do a mystery prize, but that didn't happen. So
why don't we do a Christmas tree? Whoever has the best Christmas tree,
that's nice.
And we'll have enough time for like the week of Christmas.
I like it
to
and people have already put up their Christmas tree.
The 3 winners.
Yes. So if you like to decorate for Christmas early, like many of us do, because normally people do a tradition. Ooh, let's wait until after Thanksgiving.
That's how I do it.
And that's how I do it.
Okay, well then we're the only Mexicans that like
your house is decorated already?
Well, no, not yet. But Carmenza's been dying to. She's like, babe, if we take off the Frankie, we call her Frankie. It was our little skeleton. If we take Frankie off, can we? Then we're already going to be up there in the attics. Might as well pull the Christmas stuff down. I was like, whatever you want to do.
You should keep Frankie up and decorate her whatever season it is.
Like Nightmare Before Christmas?
So Santa had a scarf.
I like that. Yes.
Thank you guys so much for joining in. I see you guys there. Ooh, look at Desiree looking at our show still.
Aww, she's Desiree.
We miss her already.
I do miss her.
Normally she's back there waving, and
I miss you, Desiree.
Desiree, it's her birthday weekend. So we gave her the weekend off and the weekday.
Too many days. You gave her too many days off. She needs to be here.
The teens, right? Because she's 19
this year.
Yeah, this is her last year in the teens. So enjoy.
She usually waits for me every morning. I used to be the first one here every morning, right? And then, me and Victoria would try to beat
each other. I was like, you win.
You win. You could be first. And then so I get here every morning, and Desiree's here, and so she's like anxiously awaiting my arrival. She's like, "Good morning." I'm like, "Good morning." I'm here. I'm cheery and peppy, but she's like I'm like probably like a 5, and she's about like an 11.
10. Oh yeah.
So she's got me beat on that.
She keeps us young.
Yeah,
for
she
sure.
does. Yes,
I know.
Absolutely.
She says, "I miss y'all too." That's so cute. And Carmenza's laughing. I think she was laughing at your feet over here trying to touch my feet. So how was y'all's week? Tell me about your week. Tell me how's everything going. It's annual enrollment still.
I know.
We're still through it. What are your take? Is it busy for you? It's kind of weird? Tell us what's going on.
Yeah, it's a pretty decent AEP, better than last year with COVID. We couldn't do anything.
Yep.
So I've had a good busy at HEB, at the senior center, I'm at one of the Conviva clinics, and I still do in-homes.
So for those of you that don't know, Sylvia doesn't work at HEB, work at Conviva. She's not doesn't have 5 jobs. She actually does events at the HEB, the Conviva clinics, what else other Health Texas's, the senior center.
Yes,
yeah.
1,000 Oaks. So I have a table, and I've got plans and information and stuff.
So she does events where she has all her information and people approach her asking questions.
Yes.
So she's not there stocking groceries and pulling blood and all that.
Taking people's groceries out to the car.
She's like, let me help you out there.
So yeah, it's been a good week, crazy week. I still go to people's houses, which is great because I'm getting the hang of the phone thing. But unfortunately, sometimes you go to people's houses and it doesn't work out. And so it's kind of trying to get all your ducks in a row, asking the right questions. And even at that, sometimes they just, miss something.
Sometimes some people annoy us. We're not gonna lie.
There you go. You said it perfect.
If you're a client, don't be an annoying client, okay? Don't tell us one thing and then it's way up.
Yes, that's what happens.
But that's just the name of the game because people don't know how it works. They don't know that we're commission. Some of us are commission only. We only make money if you actually enroll into a plan. That's how we get paid. We don't get paid from the Medicare gods that just throw money at us, right? So a lot of the times we're spending our own gas trying to get to you. And then sometimes we'll drive an hour or 30 minutes and the client, oh no, I came instead over here. And I'm like, what? You said that you were going to be there. So don't be that client. Because here's the deal. When you want to have a good relationship in the beginning, there has to be a mutual respect. And so it's immediately, and this goes for anything, if you don't respect somebody's time, whether you're an agent, talking to your business partners, or whether you're staff, or whether you're a client and client to agent relationship, you gotta hold up your end of the bargain.
You're right.
And everything. So anyway, long story short, I always have to add my little words of wisdom in there. I'm not afraid to call clients out because everybody's like, the customer is always right.
No.
I'm sorry. Those days are gone. The customer is not always right, but we're going to treat you really, really good. But at the same time, we're going to call you out when you need to be called out. Okay. And so
you're right. You're absolutely right.
If you don't want tough love, then don't come to the Medicare space. Let me tell you. And because I haven't had my coffee, that's,
have your coffee.
Yeah, have my coffee. Good morning, Maria Inez. She says, wait.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
I can't wait to tell Adriana all my tea. So how's your week been going, Adriana?
Good. You bring up a good point. I come from we all came from corporate, right? World, and it's so different. But I was driving to work this week and thinking how thankful and grateful I was that I had a boss that doesn't put up with any bleep. I'm gonna bleep myself out. And that you really do put us first, and you're not afraid to maybe lose a customer here or there, or a client, and especially when they're being disrespectful or rude or ugly, or not being mindful of our time. Because you don't always have that. I always think back to my days when I did work, in corporate, and it was horrible. I mean, I would go home stressed. I would be so on edge. And now it's I don't have to worry about that. This will be my first year where I don't feel stressed out or anxious about, I got to do this or I got to do that. And so I think them keeping in mind, like you said, just being really mindful and understanding that we're all humans. And if we do make a mistake, we didn't mean to. Be clear about what you want, what you're looking for, and we're gonna find what you need. So
and Adriana is very good at being very patient. And I'm hang that. You need to get rid of them off the phone now.
Enough is enough.
People should not be cussing at you. I don't care. To me, it's not about the money. I'm not trying to bring on like same thing. I don't bring on agents that are they don't fit
High
our
maintenance.
that are like gimme, and you should do everything for me. I get rid of those fast. And then I don't bring on clients that are like F you or you didn't do this. No, the moment that anybody does that, I get rid of them, and we can get rid of you. So it's not, and no, yes, we're appreciative to help people, and that's what we're here to do. But sometimes if you don't want to be helped, there's people out there that literally don't want to be helped. They're like finding every excuse, like you can give them a solution and it's like, well, this and that. And I'm like, okay, look, you're not the right fit for our company. You can go call the agency down the road that might deal with that, but you're not going to talk to my people like that.
Yeah.
And there's been times where I'm behind you. I'm like, no, let it go. Right. And you're like,
Hang it up.
you're like, no.
Yeah, and you're right about that, because even when I'm out in the field and I come across people that in just 10 minutes, I know, no, this is not going to be a good fit, and I, as kindly as I can, it's like, you know what, maybe you should stay with what you have, because you just know that they're angry, they're upset. They, maybe they did have a bad experience with their last plan or the agent, but it's like, I can't carry that burden for you. You know, you're going to have to, call your other agent, because sometimes I had a call yesterday from it was a referral, this and that. Anyway, I was on the phone, and thank God I was waiting at McDonald's for about 2 hours.
She was having a McDonald's ice cream and watching Netflix.
Waiting for them to get there at 6. And then they didn't get there till 6:30, but that's another story. Anyway, he called, and so I had the time to sit there for 35 minutes, and he was angry, and I just kind of heard him out because I didn't have anything to do. I was in my car.
You're like, this is a telenovela in itself.
I'm like, I'll just let him. And then I told him I'm an agent. I'm not the complaint department of the plan. And he's like, well, he wouldn't even. He just kept going on and on. And finally, I thought, I need to watch Netflix. I missed my show. And so I told him, okay, well, I'm sorry. I go back.
I need another ice cream. Give me another round.
I really can't help you. And he hung up on me. He's like, one bad word and hung up on me. And then this morning, he's already called me twice. I'm thinking, I'm not going to answer.
But it's like you said, it's a relationship,
yes.
right? So it's very different. You're referring to customer service, but I think ours is a whole nother level of, it's a relationship. This is a person that helps you with your healthcare plan. It's just like insurance agents that help with your home insurance, your auto insurance. We've had ours with the same company for years, because if we call them, we're not very needy. If we have questions, they answer, they get back to us. My sister was in the insurance business for a long time, and she helped me with all of that. So I had somebody who I knew.
You looking for work? Adriana's like, hell no.
I'm trying to pimp my sister out of here. No, I'm just kidding. So no, she's fine, thank God. But but yeah, I think about it, and it's like it's a whole different level. And even like the industry that I came from, it was very similar. It was clients, we had to keep them so we could have business. I would tell my employees, I said, look, if these people don't come in, you all don't have a job. So, but again, there's that mutual respect, and people would be rude sometimes to them. And I'm like, you know what? If you're going to talk to them like that, like you need to not talk to my staff like that.
Yeah.
You need to be respectful. They're respectful to you. You need to be respectful to them. So it's just like a relationship, but I think ours goes beyond that.
Yeah.
Right? You hold their hand, you're helping them with something that's so important.
Yes.
And also and not to say that we will, as soon as you get angry at us, we're going to cut you off, because there's been times where I'm like, okay, let it out.
Yeah.
You're having a bad day. Tell me what's going on. Okay. Thank you, Victoria. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. But there's also times when we first meet with clients and they are like, they think like you're scamming them or whatever. And that's fine, because, with the senior market, there are a lot of bad agents out there that don't always do the right thing. It's very confusing. But there's been times where, how many times have you had people that are like, I don't know, and then by the end of the call, they're like, oh, thank you so much. I was so sorry I'm being like that. You just don't know what they're going through.
Exactly.
So there's a level of like, okay, how much we will deal with. But there's also the point where, like that's just, you're taking it way too far. No, thank you. We appreciate you coming to us, but you can call the other agency down the road, because that's just not where some agencies will just take on anybody. They'll take on any agent, they'll take on any client. And that's not, money's important to me, but it's not that important where I'm going to be stressed out and people are going to be like, No, like that's not what we deal with here. That's not what we're about.
Right.
You have to, in any business owner, and if you guys are listening out there, whether you're an agent or even somebody that's building a business or an independent person, you have to design the things. You have to attract the people that you want in your life, whether that be
culture.
The culture. Yep. So whether it's the client, the customer, the friendships, the relationships that you're doing, you have the ability to control that. And that's through the culture that you create. Right. And so we're very like, no excuses here, but we're cool. We're chill. We have a good time.
Right.
Like we like to have fun. But when it's down to work, I don't have to ask my people twice to get back to work. Like, okay, guys, we gotta step it up. And
she just like goes like, and I'm like,
the look.
No,
just kidding.
I just come into my office and close my door and they're like, oh crap, it's time to work.
It's time to get to work.
Make them call.
And I think your job is harder because at least when I go to people's house and I like you say, you go in there and you feel like oh my God, this is going to be, I'm going to have a hard time breaking this wall down. And I could see them breaking down and changing as to where when you're on the phone, it's kind of harder. I think your job is, harder to do than mine being
I think
out
it was.
there,
and
I respect that.
Thank you. I respect what y'all did. I see at both ends. I'm like, man, y'all are the trailblazers who started this whole thing. People
with no GPS.
Yes. And you had to carry on all these books and all these things. And it's funny because I think me and Victoria at the very beginning were kind of like, she would kind of be like Adriana and I'd be like Victoria, and I would question a lot of the things, but it was very different from where I came from. I tried to use the same tactics I used in person over the phone and it wasn't working. It wasn't working like the way I thought it would work. And so I think listening to her and knowing what I knew, and I think that's why I just stopped asking questions is because I was like, she knows what she's doing. I need to stop. And I came from, coming from people, and I worked with people who didn't know what the heck they were doing. And it was a shame.
We know what we're doing here.
And here I told Victoria that the other day. She made us take a personality test. And in my personality test, it says, does well with people who knows what they're doing. I said, look, Victoria, that's why I'm doing so well, because I am working with somebody who knows what they're doing. And not that I didn't do well before in my other job, but I thrive here. Like I really love my job. Like it's funny. I was thinking this week, I'm like, I'm not the kind of person that looks forward to Fridays.
Yeah.
Because I don't hate my job.
You're like, I want to work tomorrow.
I'm like, shit.
I look
forward to days to I really enjoy my job. I really like what I do. And I really like a lot of the times we talk about this, we get people on the phone who they're fine where they're at and we don't change their plan. We don't make any different, changes or whatever. But yeah, it's all about the culture. And I think that she really has created the culture where people understand.
And it's great to work in a place like this where there's no stress, where there's just, you're happy to come into work. You want to come into work.
Yeah.
Where a lot of people, I have other friends that have regular jobs. I call them regular jobs. And they're like, I have to go to work tomorrow. They're already thinking of how to leave early and taking a long lunch. And I'm thinking, not me. I want to stay there at work.
Sylvia,
the time goes by fast.
Sylvia was the other day. She was like, hey, we're coming in Saturday, right? And we all look at each other.
Nobody wants to work with me on Saturday.
We're on next Saturday, Sylvia. Next Saturday. She's like, you're killing me, man. I was like, I'm sorry.
So I'll be here Saturday. I'll be here tomorrow, hopefully.
So thank you everybody. So you guys are troopers for staying on, listening to us. We want to thank you so much and sharing the show and liking the show and commenting. Let us know if you're in a place that you like to work. Well, maybe or don't, because if somebody watches this and you're like, I hate where I work, then that might not be a good thing. But let us know if you genuinely like what you do. Put a thumbs up if you like it, and then put like a winky face if you don't. How about that? That'll be code.
Yeah.
That'll be code. So today we wanted to talk about something important because it's come up actually 3 times this week.
Yeah.
Actually more than normal when it comes to the Medicare side or even on the ACA side, but particular in the Medicare side of things. And we wanted to bring up the point where doctors are leaving, certain doctors that leave medical groups that have been with them for a while. They have a patient panel and they stop, they leave that medical group. What do we do? Because we've had clients, you had one, I had one, and Sylvia had one all this week at the same time. And And what happens is you get this email or letter saying, hey, your doctor will no longer be with the medical group, or your doctor's no longer in network with the plan that you're on. So we want to really discuss that, because a lot of people are like, crap, what do I do now?
Yeah.
So there's really two things you can do, right? So let's pretend that you were with a doctor that left the medical group. Well, you need to find out if you really, really, really like that doctor. Are they retiring?
Yep.
Or are they actually leaving? Like, are they going somewhere else? And if they're going somewhere else and you're okay with leaving that specific medical group, we need to find out where that doctor's going and if they take the plan that you're on. So that's important. Number two is if the doctor no longer takes the plan that you're on. So let's just say they cancel their contract with an insurance company and they no longer take that. And you want to keep that doctor, we need to find you a plan that they take. So let's address some of those things.
Right.
Have you run into that a few times? I mean, obviously in our career, we've run into it a lot.
Many times. And the worst part about it is that a lot of times when the doctor leaves, they don't tell the people that they're leaving. They'll usually get a letter from the insurance saying, Dr. Johnson is leaving and you no longer have the doctor, and they just bring somebody. The worst part about it is finding where that doctor went. Yeah. Because the doctor doesn't tell the people they're leaving anything. So we've tried in the last 3 weeks trying to figure out where this particular doctor is going. We can't find out.
So you're stalking him at this point.
We're literally stalking him. We're trying to find out.
Hey,
yes. we did find out where this other, so it's like a puzzle, right? So then I have this other client over here. Well, this doctor from this other medical group is the one that's going to come over here. So we're like, we found out where he was going, but we still can't find out where this guy. So it's hard. And the worst part about it is that I have one particular client, the doctor left. She has appointments this month and next month. She has prescriptions that they won't refill because the doctor's no longer there. So it's like, well, okay, what do we do with this client?
Why is it? Let me ask y'all this. Why is it? Is it like a secret? Is like it's so secretive?
Yes, because they don't. So the medical group that has this particular doctor and he's leaving, they don't want to lose their clients. So they don't want to tell the patients where he's going because they're afraid. So they want to keep them. They want to bring in the new doctor, let them meet the new doctor and
give them a chance.
Give them a chance and say, you know what? We'll stay here. It's close to my house. Dr. Johnson's is moving to Seguin or something.
And a lot of times you have to remember, these are if you're an employed doctor, there's contracts in place, there's non-competes in place. So you have to be careful because it's kind of like
so they can't disclose even if they wanted to. I get it. Okay.
Yeah. So there's a lot of, but at the same time, it really, it's kind of like one of those catch-22s for the client, because the doctor can't really say. So now you're already putting a bridge in that, or a little, well, why can't you tell me? And then, so now you're kind of already putting a wedge in that relationship.
Right.
And so, but it's not because they don't want to, it's because a lot of times they can't say where.
Oh, I see.
They can't say where. Now, at some point you're going to see that, we just,
because you'll see him on the billboard.
There he is.
There he is.
Yeah. Damn it.
I found him.
I'll find you.
And you call your client, I found him. He's on I-35 on the billboard.
On the billboard and, and that's what happens. And this happens during this time of the year. In October,
and it's
November,
just so
December.
abruptly, right? There's no how we have AP during this time. Your doctor's gonna leave. It's just like this, right?
Just like that,
and there's no special enrollment to move.
Yeah,
them.
that's the main thing. That's the main issue I have a problem with. Is when, if right now we're in this annual enrollment period, we're like Sylvia was saying, but tell us what happens if we're not in annual enrollment.
So if we're not in annual enrollment and the doctor leaves and you don't have a special reason to move, whether you're diabetic or heart disease or low income, you're pretty much, I don't like to use the word stuck, but you have to stay with your plan until the following year. And right now, on some of my clients, I can't move them to the new plan to follow, to stay with the doctor. So their doctor is leaving that plan.
Now, keep in mind, everybody, for those of you that are listening that are agents, you're like, they're wrong. Okay.
No.
We're specifically
You're wrong.
You're wrong. We're specifically talking about Medicare Advantage
Right.
plans that when you're on an HMO, or if you're on an ACA plan, that's an HMO. Okay. So this specifically is geared towards HMO.
Right.
When you're on a PPO, you don't run into as many of those issues because you can pretty much go to any doctor that's within the network. And you don't need a referral. Remember, HMOs are managed care plans. So when you're on an HMO, you're assigned a primary care doctor, and that doctor has to refer you out. So when you lose that doctor, it's a little bit more of an impact when you're on an HMO.
Right.
If you're on a supplement, you don't have to worry about that. Now, unless your doctor retires, and then you have to find a whole new doctor. But if you're on a supplement, you don't have to worry about that. You just pretty much find out where the doctor is. Once you find out, you go. Okay. With an HMO, let's go back, because I wanted to, for the people that are like critiquers, we're going to satisfy your critiques.
That's wrong.
So, okay, this particular client, she can't move. The doctor's no longer taking the plan. So she wants to stay with this Dr. Toscano. I wouldn't be
Dr. Toscano.
Dr. Toscano, but she can't see Dr. Toscano till January. So she has 2 appointments. She's got refills that she needs to refill. And now she's kind of out in limbo, till January, where I'll put her on the plan that
he takes,
that
or
she takes, and she'll go back. But it's terrible when this happens, and as agents, they'll call us and they'll tell us, and there's really nothing we can do. I remember the first time this happened, like about 8-9 years ago, and one particular doctor left, and everybody was like all upset. And I called the insurance and I'm like, well, can't we move them? And they're like, no, there's nothing. I even went as far as calling Medicare because I was a rookie. I didn't know. I'm like, no, there's something I can do.
There's a petition I need to sign. I need to
like,
get this back now.
There's nothing they can do. Doctors can leave whenever they want to. Their contract is over in October, whenever they don't have to stay, And
now I will give a solution, an immediate solution, but we still run into this a lot, is let's say we could change your doctor. Like, we can call the insurance company.
Yeah.
We can assign a different doctor immediately.
Yes.
But keep in mind, sometimes those doctors don't take new patients until they'll be like, okay, our next available appointment is in July. So there you are stuck so you need to work backwards. You need to find a doctor. Like, if this happens to you, you need to find a doctor that you think you're going to like.
Right.
Then we work backwards. Okay, let's call them and then say, when's their earliest next appointment they could take you? Okay, great. They could take you now. Now let's call the insurance company. Great. They accept the plan and we're going to assign you.
Yeah.
So we need to reverse engineer versus assigning you, then you calling, and then it's just like we're doing that over and over again. So, and we could we can help with that by searching that. But if you're in the situation where you have to change your plan, sometimes when we're outside of the annual enrollment and there's no SEP, then it becomes a little more tough than that.
They have to wait. And, so I called the company to see if we could get a refill for her. And so we're trying to work that. If not, she has to go to the new doctor, like you said, but then she has to see him, and then he has to make sure that she's on the right prescription. So that might take another couple of weeks. So it's like this, revolving door here that, not really getting anywhere. And
now the another good thing, because we're not here to be like the Debbie Downers, right? We want to give you always solutions, right? We need a want. Where's our want?
But also, going back to, we talked about this before, going back to making sure you're selecting a plan that's going to be best for you. Like, I know people that literally will not refuse to get on an HMO. Refuse to get on an HMO because they're like, nope, I don't want to deal with that, because they know, because they've probably been through it before and they don't want to have to handle that. But then again, you have to go over the pros and cons of a PPO versus the HMO. So kind of dealing with those two things, but it stinks.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. And I tell my clients that all the time. I'm like, look, I'm sorry, I don't have control over that. And so at this point, let's just find you another doctor.
Yeah. There's always ways that we can figure out a solution, but sometimes the solution you might not like.
Right.
And
the bearer of bad news.
Yeah. But, and again, like Adriana said, it would maybe just be a matter of presenting another solution. Like, here, if you don't want to deal with this anymore, we can move you to a PPO and you don't necessarily have to deal with that. But then it could bring up another problem of your copays being higher than what you're used to paying. So you
can't have it all.
Yeah. I always say everything's a give and a take. Everything.
Sorry.
You can't have it all.
You can either have this or you can have that.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah.
So.
You can have both.
And you can typically have the best of both worlds if you can afford it. Okay.
Even if the supplement, right? We talked about this week. We had a client who was looking to get a lower rate.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that was not going to happen. They were outside of the underwritten, where there's no underwriting. So it's like you pay all this money up front, but guess what? You don't have any copays.
Yeah. And they had a lot of health issues. And we were like, no, we can't take you off that. Like, you need to stay where you're at.
Yeah. Especially those plans. If they come across, my table, that's the first thing I say. They're the best. They really are. If you can afford them, then I always recommend they stay. But sometimes it gets too much. I've had a couple of people, this AEP, that their premium just skyrocket. It's bad. So if you're dealing with like the doctor situation, you can always call us because we normally can, especially like we have relationships with people in different areas. So like if you're in Corpus, if you're in San Antonio, you're in Austin, if you're in Dallas, like we might not know every single city, but we can definitely research for you if you're dealing with where and it happens a lot, especially with Medicare Advantage plans. It does happen a lot where a hospital system is no longer taking this particular company, or maybe this doctor left this medical group, or maybe the doctor actually just retires and he's tired.
That's why I'm glad our doctor is like really young.
That might be.
I love her so much. I can't imagine. Like, thank you again for referring her to me. Yeah. I refer her to everybody.
Yeah,
I'm like, you need a doctor. You need a doctor. You need a doctor.
Do this. I need to go see her.
Yeah.
She's great.
Yeah, she's cool. I like her a lot.
Yeah, yes.
But I mean, and that's another thing is like finding a doctor that actually understands you, that listens to you, because how many of you, and I'm sure everybody in here listening at some point had an experience where they're like, dude, this doctor had no bedside manner whatsoever. Like literally.
I hear that a lot from my clients.
Yes.
Yeah. And again, going back to we're all human. I get it. They are on the front lines, especially right now.
Busy,
But, you can't. It's hard because people need to be seen. Right. But it's that catch-22 again. Like, if you see too many, it's almost like us, right? For example, I'll use me as an example. If I just kept going and going and going and going, never hired anybody, never got an office, never delegated, I'd be like done like yesterday. I'd be like, bye. I don't want to do insurance anymore. But sometimes you have to find the right people to delegate and trust those that the people will do right by your people. And same thing with that's why you have doctors that have PAs and nurse practitioners, and and sometimes the nurses and the PAs do more than sometimes a doctor, because they're on the front lines with you right there. Yeah. So yes, and let me say, guys, okay, because I know I'm always the hard one.
No, I'm trying to see where you're going to go with this, because I'm like, maybe she's thinking the same thing.
Damn it, I forgot what I was going to say.
Aww. You were gone for 2 seconds.
I know, but I totally forgot.
Okay, so maybe you'll remember. So I was watching an episode of Seinfeld, because I love Seinfeld. And there's this one episode.
How old are you? I know you were 2 when you started watching it.
I'm an old soul. I'm telling you, my parents raised me right. I love the Beatles. Anyway, so there was an episode of Elaine, and she goes to the doctors, and she and she like looks at her file, and she looks at it, and she's like, difficult. And so she's like all these notes of her being like a difficult patient. And so the doctor comes in and she's like, oh, I saw my file. And he's like, oh, you did? And she's like, yeah, I have this rash. It won't go away. And she's like, and I saw that y'all wrote that I'm difficult. And then he's like writing down, and she's like, what did you write? And she like steals her files and tries to go like different doctors all over town. And they all know she's a difficult patient. Don't be a difficult patient.
Okay. I think I was going to go oh yes. Thank you for reminding me.
Okay.
So it goes both ways, remember, right? So if you're a patient, don't be the patient that's like, that doesn't communicate with your doctor, because I get clients that are like, my doctor, and he doesn't listen. And I'm like, okay, what happened? Well, he doesn't see me. I said, well, did you talk to the medical group and maybe let them know that you want to see your doctor and you don't want to see the other PA? No. Well, then how are they supposed to know you're not happy?
do that all the time.
And she's like, well, because they should know and I should see the doctor. I said, okay, first of all, let's just be like real here. Like if you're not communicating, how are they supposed to read your mind? Right.
Yeah.
Now we're going to bring up another touchy subject. And if you're these people, you're going to know who you are. Okay. Let's talk about this. Remember how earlier I was saying, hey, if you're a bad client of ours, we will tell you, hey, you know, at this point, we're going to refer you to somebody else because we don't deal with that. Well, guess what? Guess what doctors can do?
Doctors can drop you.
They could fire you as a patient.
You are fired.
I had one particular client that called me yesterday, and he said his specialist let him go before he had even seen him.
Oh my goodness.
And then he called the doctor, he called Medicare, he called his insurance. And then after, he said it was like an hour, 2 hours. Then his PCP told him, please don't come back. We don't want to see you anymore. So he was without a doctor and a specialist. So they just were fed up with him, complaining and calling the insurance. And it was, so they finally
and
said,
maybe that'll teach
that.
people, I hate to say this, but maybe this will teach people a lesson. Don't to be not so crappy.
Right.
Again, we're not we're not like perfect. We make mistakes. And like, if somebody makes a mistake, like one time, like, okay, maybe they missed this. But if they're genuinely a good person and they're looking out for your best interests, then why are you going to get upset over one mistake?
Right.
Like you're going to just let the house just burn to pieces because, you know, whatever.
And word gets around town, let me tell you.
Just like Elaine and her medical file.
And that's what I
so
tell them.
true, though, that whole scene.
Yes.
When they complain about, I don't see my primary doctor and I just see the PA, and I always tell them, okay, tell me what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, I got sick and I went in there, and then I got sick again and I saw the PA. I'm like, okay, if you schedule an appointment with your doctor, will you see him? They're like, yes. I go, okay. And if you wake up tomorrow and you're sick, your doctor has all these appointments already booked. So you're not going to see your doctor. You're probably going to have to see your PA. And they're like, oh yeah, I guess that makes sense. I go, because how would you like it if you had an appointment and you got bumped because somebody's sick?
You mean like how you got bumped this week?
Yes, like that. How would you feel? And they're like, oh, so you have to play devil's advocate with them sometimes. Make them understand, okay,
and
this is the way.
And if you're a provider listening, this is the type of relationship you get. We will stick up for you.
Yes.
Okay.
Because they work hard. Our doctors, all the doctors I work with.
Yeah.
You know, this particular client that lost her doctor, she's been with him for 20 years. And she told me, I don't even see him sometimes, but I love the clinic. I love the PA. I love everybody there. And I'm like, but if you don't see the doctor, why don't we move you to? No, I don't. I've been going there for 20 years. So it's not the doctor, not just the doctor. It's the clinic. It's everybody pitching in and making her feel like a family.
I don't know how many times I get Victoria's clients and I'm like thinking I'm gonna, they're like, oh yeah, Victoria helped me out. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm thinking I got myself a new client, and I had one of hers yesterday. A very nice gentleman I spoke to from her hometown, and he mentioned, he goes, hey, I had a couple of questions, and I said, absolutely. And he's like, yeah, Victoria helped me. She helped me a while back, and I love her, and she's great. I what's your name? And I told him my name, and he was happy to talk to me, like, because he knows I worked with Victoria. So again, he knew that whoever works with Victoria knows what they're talking about, right? So he's like, I see you on the podcast, and she's great, and I've known her for a while. And so I was like, yeah. So again, it really comes down to like the culture and really knowing what you will and will not put up with. And it's not to say that you're being ugly or nasty, but if somebody's not being respectful, you have the right to say, no, I'm not going to do this.
And we're also not saying don't stick up for yourself, because as a patient or a client somewhere, you have to stick up for yourself. But you also have to be aware when you're being a you know what.
Yeah.
whatever that might be
A
for you.
pain in the
that's
butt.
in
Yeah.
any job or in any situation, just not in this. We're talking about insurance. That's
Yeah.
in everyday life. You
Yeah.
know that.
And looking at things from people's perspectives.
Yep.
Victoria and I were having a very a very good conversation this morning about things are very important in our lives, and she was giving me some perspective.
Mhm.
And so I think it's good to listen to things and maybe look at it and stand back and say, well, maybe I
Mhm.
was wrong about this, or maybe I'm not thinking the right thing, or maybe I need to see it from that person's perspective.
Mhm.
So I think that's important too.
Well, we
Yeah.
all have this stigma. No, not stigma. We all have this need to be right. Like
Yeah.
our way is not wrong.
Mhm.
Our way, I am right, and I'm going to be right. And you're willing to sacrifice relationships, and you're willing to get your mind in a different state of mind to be right. But why are you trying to be right? Like, why?
Mhm.
Like, think about that. Like, if you're listening right now and you've had this with family or friends or relationships, why? And I've done this before, so I'm not perfect. Like sometimes I'm like, no, I'm right. And then I'm like, but the way our family is, we're quick to like we're like Adam Sandler, that movie where he's like, I hate you. And then the next he's like, baby, I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry. What did I do? Right? That's how we
it's
are.
Happy Gilmore. It's
Yeah.
Happy Gilmore. Okay.
Yeah. Happy Gilmore. And but I cannot be in the state of mind where I'm like, I'm right and you're wrong. Like, trust me, if I was like that, I'd have no friends because I disagree with a lot of my friends.
Eliminate everybody. You know,
I would be like,
But you're really good though too. Even if somebody is indifferent with you about something, you're really good about just listening to their perspective and being like, well, this is what I think, and not coming off as like rude or whatever. I think that's what I love and I appreciate about working with you is that you are really good about kind of just listening. And I'm starting to be like that as well. I used to be that way too. Like, I'm right and you're wrong. And I think really allowing other people to be in their ideas and understand what they're thinking and saying, and being appreciative of that, and being like, it's okay that you believe that, and that's okay that I believe that. Let's just respect each other, and then let's move on with this relationship. Patience too.
Well, because at the end of the day, like when I really start digging, because a lot of times I work with a lot of agents and everybody and now staff, people that work with me here at the office, but working with the agent, the field teams, everybody's in their own path and everybody's different. I dealt with a lot of different characters, and that has helped me realize everybody has different choices, decisions, and thoughts. And so I've learned to become a good listener because I'm like, I'm not right. Like I always come at the conversation as I'm not right. I'm just here to listen.
Right.
And sometimes we're supposed to be having strategy meetings, and a lot of it's like actually personal meetings, so which is fine. But what I'm learning is that people just want to be listened to. And sometimes they want to be right. But when you look at it, like, why do you want to be right? Why do you what's the real deal here? Like, what's the real, like, is it because that feeds your ego or that feeds your confidence? Like, and at the end of the day, when I really find out why people want to be right, you know what it usually is?
They're hurt.
They care so much about the other
They're
person
so passionate
that they want to make them understand certain things. And I'm like, yeah, but then it's just building a wedge in your relationship.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that could be with anything: client, customer, spouse,
with your doctor, if you're not communicating with them.
The doctor, like going back to the doctor cares about you, right? They wouldn't be in the field if they didn't care about you.
Right.
I'm not saying there's not some bad seeds out there, but for the majority of the time, people care about you. So you just need to have the guts to be like, okay, you know what? I'm not always going to be right too. So let me kind of scale back. Like, let's think about this for a little bit. And I'm trying to really like that. And that comes back to, it's called emotional intelligence. You have to, I try to work on this, because even at home, sometimes I'm like, well, why did I respond that way? Or like, let me see, I could have just done this different or said this different, and then I'm there critiquing myself on how I can be better the next time. But I guarantee you, half the people that are listening are not doing that. And maybe half of you are, and you know who you are. But half of you that are listening are probably like, man, I should be doing that more, because I have had where it's kind of affecting certain relationships in my life, or or maybe why no doctors taking me on? Or like,
Why don't I have friends?
You have difficult patient written on your forehead.
Friends.
why is everybody always picking on me? So I know we always get like, we go from like funny to like education, but then we get like real talk, right?
Serious
You're always
talking.
going to get something from us that's like a
Yes.
lesson. And of course, I'm still young. I mean, I'm only 38.
You're still a chick or a spring chick.
Still a young
I still got a lot to learn. But what I've learned is a big thing that I've learned in my life is that I don't always need to be right.
Right.
And when you can start thinking like that and start like just letting people be themselves and listen, then your world is going to change. I promise you. Like you're going to be like, wow.
There's a saying and you just made, I don't even know how it goes. I think it's something like, would you rather be right or would you rather be loved? Something it's
Ooh,
along
I
the
like
line.
that.
You're
Something
saying.
along the lines of that.
Yes.
I've heard somebody say that
Uh-huh.
before. And I've learned that in my marriage, right? Because I'm a lot like that. I'm very stubborn. My husband's very stubborn too. And I learned to just be like, it's okay. Like I'm not right. And just really like listening, because my husband and I couldn't be more different in ideas and thoughts, and just really being tolerant. Like there's a lot of times when I talk to clients and they go on about things that I may be indifferent about,
Mhm.
Yeah.
but I'm not going to sit there and be like, you're wrong and I'm right. Because
Exactly.
yes, they're my client and I want to keep them as my client, but also because it teaches you to be tolerant of other people's ideas and beliefs.
Yeah.
And again, they're very respectful and they're respectful and they're kind to me. So that's what's important to me.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Because what their beliefs are or whatever else their ideas are, whatever, that doesn't matter.
And I'm very patient with my client. They always tell me, I don't see how you could be so patient.
That's right. Would you rather be right or would you rather be happy?
And in real life, in my regular life, I'm very stubborn and I have no patience. I'm like, I come from a long line of no patient family.
Yeah, me too.
My dad,
Sorry, Mom.
my mom. But with my clients, they're always telling me, you have so much patience. And I think, I do. I don't know why. This is my life with them, with hundreds, 110% patient. And then my regular life with no patience.
It's because you love what you do.
Yeah, maybe so. in my family, I don't. Sorry, I'm just kidding.
Claudia
Sorry.
says sometimes she says, would you rather be right or be happy? She
I think
says,
it was her and her
what was
husband who
it?
told me that.
she says, sometimes I just want to be right. Yeah. As long as you make that like 20% of the time, Claudia, I think you're good. And I think you're like that. I think
Yeah,
you're like
she
that.
is. She's really good at that with her husband.
Yeah.
I think she's taught me a thing or two about that too.
But I just laugh at like, because people are so in their feelings right now about like when life has you down or something. So it's easy to be in a better state of mind when things are going good.
Oh, yes.
But when things are not going good, it's easy to like snap and like, ugh, and
Me.
Yeah. And so just try not to get in the victim mentality, because you don't want to stay there, because then nobody likes, okay, not like I'm talking about like victims when it comes to like crimes and stuff like that, but I'm talking like the emotional victim. Don't be that person, because nobody likes like that. Like,
Maybe
But it's like
downer.
I tell my kids all the
Pity
time,
party.
there's a solution to every problem. It's
Mhm.
just not going to be
Yes.
the one you like.
mhm,
Exactly.
mhm,
So it's either going to cost you money or it's going to cost you time, but you can fix it.
mhm.
You can fix it. It's all,
Everything is
fixable.
fixable.
Everything is fixable.
And if
Somebody's
it's
asking
not,
how
you
can
rebuilt it.
how can we get $2,500 flex card? That is that. I see those commercials. So there are certain, they're talking about the flex card. So there's certain Medicare Advantage plans that have extra benefits, a flex card being one of them. But it really just depends on what area you're located in. Those plans are not available in every single area. And a lot of times those extra benefits that they're talking about on the commercials that you see, probably you saw a commercial or maybe a Facebook ad or a flyer. Those are specific to the service area that you live. And a lot of the times those real high extra benefits, it really determines what your Medicaid level is, the Medicare Savings Program. So if you qualify for the Medicare Savings Program and you're on Medicare, you can get into a Medicare Advantage plan that usually has those type of benefits. But again, we want to always check your doctors, your medications, to make sure that that plan is a right fit. You can always call us at the 800 number that's on there. I can't see your name on there, so you can either message us or call us. But I wanted to address the question in the comments.
Yeah, they always, I had a lot of questions about that this week about the flex card. And again, a lot of the times when I was pulling up their information, it wasn't even a plan that was offered in their area.
Yeah.
So it's very area specific. It depends on what your Medicare, Medicaid levels, like you said, are at. So that's all depending on whether you can even get it.
And a lot of those flex plans, they have to look at the whole picture. Their doctors in the hospital, how much are they going to pay for outpatient surgery and the hospital? To me, that's the bulk of the meat of the plan.
Yes.
So they might get something here, but you know, how often do you see your doctor, your specialist? And that's when the prices go, the copays go up a little bit more.
Yeah. And if you're on a dual plan with Medicare, Medicaid, you don't remember, like I said before, there's always a give and a take. Even if you're on Medicare, Medicaid, if you switch to a plan with, let's just think of it like this. If it's too good to be true, it might be. But there's these unique situations where we can find everything and you're like, yes, because you don't have doctors, you don't take medications, you don't care about what specialists you see. So you're kind of shopping for the benefits rather than your doctors and medications. So it makes it a little easier. But when you have doctors, you have specialists, you have certain medications, especially if they're expensive ones, brand names. If you live in a certain area, that it starts kind of process of elimination, kind of brings those. But just to answer your question, you're referring to a plan that has Medicare Advantage plan. It's a Medicare Advantage plan with that benefit in there. We are coming up to 10 more minutes left in the show. Do you guys have any other questions for us? Or did you find this show valuable? Do you like when we get personal, or do you not like it because it like, crap, Victoria's telling us how it is?
We're calling people out on their
Please like it.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're welcome. I can't see who you are, Facebook user, it just says Facebook user. But yes, any questions that you have, 866-717-8683. You'll see our number kind of going right there at the bottom of the screen there. 866-717-8683. You'll get either Adriana or Sylvia when you call that number, and we'll be able to help you. But like I said, we always try to bring value. We always try to bring you to church a little bit. We always try to make you laugh. Sometimes we're going to make you cry, and it's not going to be happy tears. It's going to be like, oh God, Victoria's really telling me how it is today. And, you know, I'm going to challenge you guys today is, you know what? Let's make a challenge for them. I want you to call somebody today that you haven't talked to in a while, that you've been thinking about lately, and just tell them that you've been thinking about them. You know, if they, sometimes you kind of have somebody on your mind, you're like, man, I've been thinking about this person a lot, you know? So just, if you're like that, text them, call them, say, hey, I've been thinking about you. That's it. And, you know, it could be an old family member, friend, relative. And then we also challenge you to be a good patient, to be a good client.
Please.
Be a good person overall.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tolerance, people tolerance.
Anything that you guys want to add before we end the show here in about 5 minutes?
No, just, you know, it's AP, a lot of commercials, a lot of flyers. If you're thinking about moving, make sure you're looking at the whole plan.
Yeah.
The prescriptions, doctors, everything. You know, don't make a hasty decision. You know, it's important. Some of you might switch and you might be with that plan for the rest of the year. And so for those people, just be very cautious, especially right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And we always sound like a broken record because we always say the same thing, but it's so true. And you know what? We're not going to stop saying it until the whole world hears it, until every Medicare Advantage benefit or Medicare beneficiary hears that, because as much as we think we say it too much,
it's a resounding, but you know what? People are turning 65 every day, so we're going to be saying it until we die.
Yeah.
Yes. and it's not just the seniors. I had a client, the daughter called me because they were watching the commercial and they were talking about supplement. So they spoke to somebody, they moved them to the supplement, but she's up in age. So of course it didn't get approved. So now all she's going to get is the drug plan.
Mm-hmm,
And so she called me after the fact. I'm like, why did you do that? I got all mad at her. She's like, I'm sorry, Sylvia. So I ended up putting her back. But it's not just the seniors. It's, you know, everybody. Because you look at the commercials and they sound so great and wonderful. And you think, yes, you know, I want to get this for my mom.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's not just the seniors making wrong decisions at time. It's everyone, myself included.
And
you know?
I think we're all well, at least I'm very fortunate to have had people who worked in these industries that were really, really important. Like my sister, with her, I went to her for the longest time when we bought our first house. Hey, can you help me? And she did everything for me. You know, and then my mom, she dealt with her insurance her whole life because she was sick. And so she knew about co-pays and HMOs and all these things. And she helped me. And then now I'm doing this. And so now I'm fortunate and grateful that when people or somebody says something, I know what they're talking about.
Yeah. Like, oh, that's what that word means.
I'm like, oh, that. So it's funny because when I first started, y'all had all these like AEPs, SEPs, OEPs, like Medigap. And I'm like, what is all this stuff?
Yeah.
And now I was telling her,
You're
I was like,
expert.
I'm so grateful now. I know what those things mean.
I know. And she was telling me the other day, she was looking at notes and she was laughing because she's like, what did I write? And then I said, just watch in about 6 months, you're going to even look back and be like, what was I saying? Because you learn every year you're learning. Even I look back 5 years ago, I'm like, wow, I started as an independent agent. I always say beginning of 2016, because I really don't count 15 because I started like in November 1st of 2015.
We started together.
Yeah. And so, well, you had came back to it.
Been,
So this was like, not new to insurance, but new to the independent world, like a fish out of the water. Right. And I look back, I'm like, that wasn't that long ago. That was 16. We're heading into 2022. Yeah. So I was like, dang, like it was a long journey, but not long ago.
And it went by fast.
Yeah. So anyway, life goes by fast. Do you guys have any other questions for us before we let you go? If you don't, we thank you so much for always joining in to the Medicare Space. Share the show, invite your friends, tag them in the comments.
The country little.
Why am I talking like that? I don't know.
Oh, was it Desiree yesterday with her a British accent? She goes, I did it for a whole year.
What?
Why?
And I was like, are you kidding me? She's like, no, I really did it for a whole year. She was talking with an accent. I'm like laughing my butt off. She sounded really good.
Desiree, call me. I want to hear that. I missed it yesterday.
Yeah. So I was like, yours sounds better than mine.
Because I came in. I was in and out yesterday.
Oh, I know.
So I never came back.
I know.
Well, McDonald's eating ice cream.
Hey, that soft serve. That's Carmenza's favorite. That soft serve ice cream. Well, guys, we appreciate you joining the show again. Don't forget, every Friday, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. We're always here. We really try, unless there's a hurricane and it knocks out our freaking power or whatever. Even at that, maybe we'll get on our phone. We'll be like talking to you guys on our phone. But if you guys, we always want to thank you so much for joining in. What do you think about Adriana and Sylvia doing such a wonderful job all the time? I think, man, I want to go back to when we first started the show. How like you were all timid and now you're just like, ooh.
I know. I was so nervous. I still get nervous, but not as bad as I was at the very beginning.
Yeah, we're gonna go back and you know what I'm gonna do for y'all?
You should do like a reel of like how far y'all have come.
I'm gonna do a compilation, like a 30-second compilation video of all of our like mess ups when we first started, and then I'm gonna play it for y'all like on one of these episodes, so that way we can check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you guys so much for joining in. We love to see you next Friday. And also don't forget, when you start putting your Christmas trees together,
take a picture.
We give away good prizes, guys. So don't miss out. And you know what? The only people that get the prizes are the people that actually post. So, and chances are, if it's only 5 people, your chances are really good of winning.
Yeah. Yes.
So we don't want it just to be 5 people. Make sure when you and if you have like 3 Christmas trees, put it in a collage. Cause I know my sister does like 10 of them or something.
I have a friend that has one in each bedroom.
Oh my God.
In the living room, in the kitchen. It's like, I like trees.
So we're looking for creativity. We're looking for unique. And we're probably going to have people vote.
And if there's a cute baby in the picture, that might even count for extra points.
Or
a dog or a puppy
puppy
in the picture for extra points.
Yes,
Sneak
yes.
them in there.
You get creative, whatever you want to be in your little Christmas
Or
tree.
yourself in your picture. You know,
in your
on Santa Claus lap or something.
or you want to sing us a carol, whatever.
your little pajamas.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So so what you're going to want to do, if you heard, you're going to want to join in every show. But when are we going to start this? When are we going to vote? Like right before Christmas? we
Yeah,
should
right
vote?
before Christmas.
Okay, so maybe the episode right before we are going to be off for Christmas. Okay, so write these times
Oh,
down. Write these times down. The show is not going to, we're going to play a re-record, or, we'll probably pre-record a show.
Okay.
We could pre-record a show probably on Wednesday. Maybe we could do the show Wednesday,
The week of Thanksgiving.
the week
too.
of Thanksgiving, and we'll replay it on Friday for you guys. So we're going to be off Thanksgiving and we're going to be off Christmas because
Mhm.
just happens to land on Fridays. But we're always going to get a show to you regardless. And so whether it be the week of or a pre-recorded show, we're going to do that for you guys. So thank you so much for joining in. If you guys, do you have anything else to add?
No.
Nope.
All right. Well, we will see you you guys missed out. We're going to be at the night
that's
in
right.
Old Spain tonight.
Yes.
Good luck for the flamenco, Los Flamencos of San Antonio,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
And we'll see you tonight, and we'll see you guys next week. Have
See
a
you.
great
Y'all have
show.
a great week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.